What's going on, guys? It's Matt Marinoff, Real Estate Recovery Group. My guest today is Vanessa Regalado. The pronounce it?
Thumbs up. We practiced for 5 minutes right now.
All right, don't give it up. Regalado. Vanessa Regalado. So, guys, I want to have Vanessa on because Vanessa is, in my opinion, definitely a boss lady. She's a power player in the industry. And I think it's important to promote and let others know about somebody who might be out there. The point of the 12 o'clock show is to let everybody know, hey, look, my circle, I might have 4,800 friends or 4,900 friends on one account. I've got approaching 1,600 on Short Sales 101, and then we have additional various different accounts that are out there. But we might only share 200 or so people that we're actually friendly with. So I think it's important that other people, other individuals in social media, understand sphere of influence of people that you're doing business with. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Vanessa and what she's doing and what, where she has been and up to. So Vanessa has a degree in management and she's concentrating in business and entrepreneurship. She graduated from Rutgers University in 2005. She immediately went to work for a very well-known developer, real estate company in New Jersey. The group, on average, right now is closing about 100 closings per year. Vanessa grew up actually, this is important. You have a deep passion for real estate itself, so that's good. She's running a property management company. She opened Crowne Property Management. She currently holds multiple national recognized certifications in property management and real estate. Now, you're certified construction manager. You are still. Are you still a certified project manager for Turner Construction School?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. And also as well as a global construction company. With 15 years in the business, Vanessa shows dedication, passion, superb ethics standards when it comes to her clients. She provides property management, business consulting, nationally well-known leaders in the real estate industry. I really appreciate you coming on today. I have a couple of questions for you that, most people, I think in the property management world, people have a bad rap. I think companies have a bad rap for being lazy. Secretly, I was asking people about your company behind your back now for about a year or so. I'm going to tell you, zero complaints. Only people raving about you. And apparently you have a little bit of, you really are a boss lady, which I think is pretty cool.
15 years in business. Look, no white hair.
All right. Grecian form. Got it.
Right. But you know what? The one thing that I always take pride on my company, like you said, property management is a very rough business. There's bad reputation. Not everybody makes it through. A lot of companies, they go in business for 3-5 years, and then after that, you never hear back from them. It's a business that burns you down emotionally, physically. If you don't have the mindset and you don't have the personality of structuring your business, well from the beginning, then you will be out of business in 5 years. Just because, like I said, it's just a mindset issue that managers get burned down in 5 years in this business. But we've been in business for 15 years. We've been very blessed that we run our business with ethics and with passion. And we are not perfect. We make mistakes. I always tell that to my clients. There's no such thing as perfection. There's going to be mistakes being made. We learn through those mistakes, and we learn through the process of making sure that if anything happens that the client is not happy about something, we always look forward to how can we fix something that potentially could affect another client in the future. So There's horrible stories about other management companies. I'm not going to get into that today, but every client that I take, it usually comes with a horrible story of how they stole money from the tenants, how they stole money from them, how it was mismanaged, how there were pending repairs, how there were no reports being given. And just to give you an example how badly the industry is right now. But there's a lot of great other companies out there. I mean, I met very good companies, good owners, people that truly care about this industry and that have given it a good name in behalf of everybody else in property management.
All right. So, which is going to lead me to my next question, my next topic, because maybe you can walk through the type of services that you offer. Because overall, again, I think the property management business has gotten such a horrible whack. Are you focused only in New Jersey? Where does your company focus?
We focus in New Jersey, mainly in the North Jersey area and Central Jersey as well. I don't go as far as South Jersey or anywhere else just because I want to be fair to the client. My bandwidth is within 1 hour of my office. That's where my vendors are. That's where I can send people for anything that a property needs. I know some companies that are very small, they're like, we do all New Jersey, and they don't have the bandwidth. They don't have vendors. They don't have, don't have the enough services to properly take care of that client the way that it should be. So I'm honest with people. If it's more than 1 hour of our office, then it's not going to happen for me. So I want to make sure that you're taken care of and your tenants as well. So as far as what type of services we offer, we are a full service property management company. We do everywhere from like rent collection. We do maintenance and repairs. We take care of emergency phone calls, daily phone calls from tenants, eviction processes. If let's say a tenant leaves, we have to do a rent-ready renovation. We do rent-ready renovations. We also rent the apartments once they become vacant. We go through the process of screening those tenants, background, tenancy, credit reports, employment verification for that tenant. And we also draft the leases. And we have a very good lease. It's almost 20 pages. And we have a process that has been very tailored to our company. For every year, it gets refined to a point that we get a 98% retention rate. What this means that if we get tenants, 98% of them, they stay with us. 2% is probably moving because of job, they change jobs, or they get married, or they move somewhere else, or they buy a house. And the same goes with our eviction rate. We have a 98% retention in eviction rate, meaning that only 2% of our tenants get evicted. And usually it's because of issues other than income. Like right now, we're evicting a tenant that is not even mine. I didn't place this tenant, but just to give you an example, this tenant died and the son stayed in the apartment, and now the son is not paying rent. And the son was not even a tenant in the apartment. He just crashed the apartment after mom died, and now we inherited a new tenant and we're evicting him. So we take.
How long does it usually take to evict somebody before COVID and during COVID right now?
Prior to COVID, probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks if it's a busy district.
Mm-hmm.
And then Newark is very busy, and Jersey City, they're extremely busy. So, but usually anywhere between, as soon as you file for the paperwork, we'll get back a court date within like 3 or 4 weeks. And then as soon as you get the court date, then you go to court, you do the paperwork. If the tenant doesn't show up, you get a default on your judgment, file for the lockout, and everywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, and now it's taking a lifetime.
Let me ask you a question. Why would somebody want to go through the eviction process, risk having it done on time for whatever the rent was that they didn't pay? Why would they not want to just move out and go on with their life?
It's a good question. I think it's a demographic issue. I think when you go into certain neighborhoods which people unfortunately loses their jobs and they have a medium class income neighborhood, then they do tend to care a little bit more about those type of things and going into the credit, and they try to work out on payment plans or move out afford or cash for keys and things like that. But when you go into a lower income neighborhood, then the mindset it's different. Some might care, some might not care. And honestly, I think some people, they just fall into situations that they didn't plan to. Beverly, we have somebody that we have gone through like the whole 9 years of the lockout process. I think once we file for the eviction, a lot of them, they just leave. But some of them might stay, and that's when we go into a process of doing the lockout with the sheriff's office, and it gets a little ugly because, obviously everybody's there, and sometimes we have to call the police department if they get a little, nasty.
So why would somebody, at what point could somebody turn to a company like yourself that would be able to add value to them versus them actually having to deal with the day-to-day stuff?
It all depends on the goals that person has as a business. Everybody that goes into real estate, it's a business. Whether you're going to be a landlord for one property or a landlord for 20, or you're going to be a flipper and all of a sudden you bought your first hole, and it's a mindset. It's a mindset process. Number one, it's a knowledge process as well. So either people have the mindset, I can do it myself, and then they don't grow their portfolio because obviously you're growing a flipping business, but now you're not focusing in the holding process or the holding portion of your business, because your flipping business actually taking a lot of time, but now you're dealing with tenants as well. So your time gets consumed by all these little things and little processes that at the end of the day, you're like taking phone calls, calling the plumber, and then, file, new lease renewal or rent ready and showing apartments. But if you leave that to a company, then, 80%, 90% of the work gets done automatically by our office. So either people leave it to somebody else to handle business and they can focus 100% on their business, or they can just handle it on their own. And you see that sometimes they handle it on their own until they have like 5 or 10 units. And all of a sudden, when they reach that threshold of 10 units, then it's when they're getting a little bit stressed out. Mm-hmm. And I can't take care of my construction business if I'm taking care of my tenants, or vice versa. It's like, well, I can't handle both. So the other one will be knowledge. We get a lot of late. They have the knowledge of, they've been through the education process of how to buy a property, how to do this, how to do that. But when it comes to actually executing, the property management portion of that property, then they're like, I can't do it. And it might be a personality thing as well. Some females are more stronger in personality. Some others are more, I'll leave it up to you. You guys know what you're doing. Just handle it, and then I can continue growing my business. And that's pretty much the two reasons. Number one, knowledge, and number two, just how fast you your business in holding properties.
My guest today is Vanessa Regalado. Did I say it right again? I just swore.
Regalado.
Vanessa Regalado. If you want to reach out to Vanessa, she's provided her cell phone number. You can call her at 908-275-1113. Again, Vanessa's cell is 908-275-1113. Her company name is the Crowne Group. Crowne Group. It's thecrownegroup.com, right?
It's the Crowne Group, yes. And then our property management company is Crowne Property Management. We have two departments. We have the property management company, and we have the sales department company as well.
So when you're offering services to somebody who's maybe a newer investor, what would you say to somebody that, might be getting involved in selling houses? The banks say, when you say flipping houses to a bank, that's basically like cursing at them. They want to know that you're turning houses. You're not flipping them, you're turning them. So by turning the houses, now all of a sudden, some of the investors might become, buying whole. So now they're buying whole, right? And when they're buying whole, what would you say to somebody? Like right now, somebody's watching it and they're in New Jersey. What if they're not in New Jersey? What if they want to basically pay you for your expertise and ask you for help. Will you help somebody if they pay you for your time?
I have helped people for free. I don't usually charge people if they come and ask me questions. I think, I believe in abundance. I believe that helping people is more fulfilling to me than actually charging them a consulting fee.
Okay.
And that is going to be obviously extremely involved. You're buying a 300 unit building and you want me to go and deep into financials and things like that. Obviously, that takes a whole full day of researching and analyzing numbers and things like that. But I have tons of investors that they're newbies, that they come to me and they said, I'm buying a property. What do you think this will be the best approach? Or what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? I have people reaching out to me for just rental processes, and they're not even my clients. But you know what? When you said right now, I've been asking about Vanessa for a whole year, and everybody has a good, a good comment, positive comments.
Yes.
That's when it speaks about me helping people. When I offer my help for free and think people feel appreciated and people feel that appreciation, and word of mouth is the best referral that I have in my business.
All right. Well,
I get paid. I honestly, if it's going to take 10, 15 minutes of my time to go out of my way and said, somebody sent me a question in Facebook and I can just give them a quick answer.
right.
That person is always going to be grateful about that help. And that's how I grow my business, by helping people.
What would you say along the way now, last week, today, who knows? What are the best resources that have helped you along the way?
I believe as a company, you always have to keep looking into your business at every single level, whether you're small, you're medium, or you're big. You always have to oversee what's going to take your business to the next level. One of the things that has helped my company taking it to the next level every year is technology. When you start small, obviously you have the basics of every company. And then as you start growing, obviously technology plays a huge role in how we operate as a company right now. And look, a year before actually COVID happened, we went almost 90% green and technology driven company, meaning we were doing everything technology wise. So everything from the computer, that's still that 10% that we were missing. But, from number one, our software is cloud based, it's not computer based. Our online files are cloud based as well. Our bill payment is cloud based. It was actually manual last year, and we transfer everything to our property management software to handle our online payments for all our clients. So they make our payments, they mail payments for our clients. We are hands off. We just have to put the bills into the system and they take care of 80% of the work. So I've been a technology driven company. When COVID happened, it actually didn't affect us as much.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody went home and everybody went to work and everybody just resumed work immediately. There was no, how do we handle this? How do we handle that? Phones are being answered through the computer. My phones ring in my employees' computers. They don't ring on a physical phone anymore. So that's actually a savings now. We were actually having a phone line in the office that people were physically picking up a phone. Now everything is computer based. So technology is number one. The second thing is processes that we have, which I actually spoke about this on my podcast last week. How to implement processes in your company that you can take your business to the next level. And by being very detailed how your processes are, whether you're a property management company, you're a flipper, you're working in short sales, you're working in any, the process in your company has to be clear, because if your processes are not clear and you have team members working with you, whether it's a partner, a wife, an employee, and your processes are not clear, then everybody's going to be lost. Where is everything? Where is this form? Where is my contract? Have your contracts ready, have your forms ready, very professionally looking. There's a lot of softwares for free or a minimal fee that you can make things look very professional now. So having that process in place as a company is very, very important. Third thing, my team members. I think, part of the company growth is how well your team functions as a whole. How do you choose your team members? How do you train your team members? And how do they operate through different things, through different processes? And this goes back to processes. How do we hire people? It's a key to our company. Obviously, they go through a background process. They go through other referral processes as well. We do an interview, and the interview is another process. We actually make people do things on the spot, on the fly. So meaning when they interview with us, we sit them in front of a computer and we give them tests. How quick they type, how quick can they do a memo, how quick can they draft a letter, and how do we do role playing as well. We and we may pretend that we are tenants very upset about something, and that person has to role play with us and see how well they manage the situation under stress. So our hiring and training process is very extremely detailed. The training process is a whole different level of one whole week before they even take a phone call in our office, of shadowing somebody in the office, how they pick up the scripts that they have to use to answer the phones, um, training in our software, everything, customer service training, discrimination training, because we deal with different demographics, everything. I mean, it's our team members, once they sit down and actually gonna take on their position, they're already 100% ready. The other thing is self-improvement as an owner. I think it has helped me always be learning about business. We hold multiple certifications. If you know about property management in New Jersey, you don't have to be certified, versus other states that they require you to be certified. But the fact that you go through the process of going to a national company and getting certifications in community leadership, accounting, insurance, and I even went as far as getting, like you mentioned before, my project management certification with Turner Construction, and I was denied for 2 years to get into that program. They told me, you're not in construction, you cannot be accepted into the program. But it persisted for 2 years with the director that I actually formed my own construction company. I did the LLC and everything. And I'm like, wow, now I have a construction company. I was so persistent that they finally accepted me. And the fact that I was persistent, they actually made me the main speaker in the graduation ceremony. And was the one person who had less construction knowledge, in the sense that these people were, big construction companies in the area. But the fact that somebody takes 2 years, of emails and calls, and I actually went as far as forming my own LLC construction company just to get into the program, he's like, that's persistency. That's persistency. And Vanessa is going to be our guest speaker at our graduation ceremony. I was like, I was in shock. So, that's the fact that you educate yourself and you're always learning and you always going that extra mile to bring that knowledge to your clients, to your tenants, and everybody that works for you, then it gives everybody a peace of mind, and it puts you above and beyond everybody else in the industry as well.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel like you've been discriminated in the industry overall, or do you feel like you've been discriminated your life because you're a woman in business, a woman in power?
Yes. Many times. I think the fact that people see a woman in a position like mine, they feel that the knowledge is not there. They feel that I don't have the construction background. Even dealing with my own vendors at some point, when I met them, or, just people, I test vendors every year because we get so busy sometimes that my own vendors get busy and I have to, start reaching out to new vendors. The fact that I send them to do something and they come out with an assessment of a plumbing job, and then they give me a $4,000 quote, and I'm like, that's not $4,000, that's maybe 1,000. They think that because I'm a woman, I don't know what it takes to do something. I don't know how much is to change a toilet. I don't know. I have knowledge in boilers, and I'm not talking about a two-family boiler. I have boilers that, replacement of those boilers for a 100-unit building, it's $80,000. I replace roof systems that were $250,000, $300,000. I have done pointing projects for $300,000, $500,000 in buildings. So the fact that people see me as a girl, they're like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. Or I meet and they're like, oh, well, I'm like, no. I'm like, here, right here. This is where, and then I explain the process. And they're like, oh, well, she knows what she's talking about. And I being also in a sense that, they meet with me and they're like, well, is there somebody else in your company that I can speak with other than you? It's me. If you don't want to deal with a girl, then, you're not the right person to do the job. And that's the end of the story.
So I want to answer you this question. Do you sometimes feel like you got a bigger set of balls than men?
Yes.
I love it.
I do.
I love it.
And I think a lot of people get intimidated by that too. Because, I do have, like, I'll tell you right now, one of my employees got sexually harassed by a tenant last week.
Oh, wow.
And she came to me very disturbed by the fact that this tenant, it's a commercial unit in Plainfield, just called her and asked her personal questions. He actually asked her out, and she immediately sent me a message, and she's like, I had to hang up on him because he was uncomfortable. And she has that timid personality that, she wouldn't go for it as far as saying something to him. I immediately picked up my phone because my office phone is in my cell phone. So I call him from my cell phone, but it rings as my company number. The guy picks up and calls me Chula right away. Hi, Chula. And I said, hey, listen. I said, no calling Chula. You can call Chula, the oldest of your home, in Spanish because it was Spanish conversation. But, the fact that I explained to him, okay, and this is what it is. These are my expectations. And now that you don't want voice, I'm going to put you down. This is going to happen to you. You'll take a legal process. And file harassment against you. And that's going to be the end of your career because it's not acceptable. But I do have that personality that sometimes, I guess, being in this business for 15 years is very complicated. And you do what a lot of people want to take advantage of your clients, and you take also a lot of tenants that they want to take advantage of you. So I do deal with the situations in my company that sometimes my employees don't feel comfortable about it, and most of it has to do with men. So I do feel that I have a personality sometimes that I have to push it sometimes, and I think some men get intimidated by that.
So for me, I get sexually harassed on a daily basis, and I find it more flattering. I'm okay with it, but when the guys cross the line, I kind of like tell them, "Hey, guy, what you need to stop." Not okay. I get it. I personally, I find there's nothing wrong with women, whether it's a woman or whether it's a man, as long as you're the right person for the job. That's really what it really should be. It shouldn't matter anything else as long as they're capable of doing and performing in a professional manner and providing the service. That's really all it should matter. When people take it to another level, or if they feel that they can get away with something, then there's two things that might be happening. One, maybe you're giving off a specific vibe that maybe they're taking up on it, or maybe they're just disrespectful people, and or they don't really care. So I get that, and I understand that, and I understand the service industry that you're in, and obviously being able to offer a great product for an amazing price and to help people. I personally hope that your company grows and thrives and keeps moving forward, and hopefully you'll be able to expand maybe out of New Jersey one day. Do you have any aspirations for making this a bigger company?
We have considered actually going to PA if the resources are there. A lot of investors from PA have reached out to us. I actually have somebody right now with 5 units that it's actually a court receivership, and we get a lot of those phone calls as well. The properties that they're being in the process of being sold through the court, and they need a management company. So they have 5 properties right now in New Jersey, and they have 5 properties in PA. And some people even says to me, Vanessa, we don't care if you don't manage in PA. We just want you to collect the rent. But the truth is that I don't want to compromise something right now that I'm not going to be able to not have the manpower to service them. But we have considered moving into PA. And I think with the right resources or maybe the right partnership over there, I might consider that this year. Get a lot of phone calls from a lot of investors in PA right now.
What do you? What is it right now? What is a common myth about your profession or your field that you want to debunk? That you actually want to set the record straight about?
I think that every time I speak with people about property management, they think of property management of being, you guys collect rent. Like property manager only collect rent, and that's all we do. And they feel like, out of everything in real estate, is that one industry that people don't feel that is worth as much. If you're a realtor, if you're a mortgage broker, whatever, an inspector. So everybody's like, oh wow, you're a property manager. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality is that there's a lot of work behind being a property manager. There's a lot of processes. We handle people's money more than a realtor, and I'm very surprised our state doesn't regulate. And I always said this, that we should be regulated by the state of New Jersey, just like realtors and mortgage brokers and everybody else who works in real estate, and we're not. And I think that's the main problem, that a lot of people get into this business thinking it's an easy business, that they only have to collect rent, but it's way more than that. I mean, customer service is a huge part of my company. If you don't have that training and that knowledge in customer service, the knowledge of having to deal with tenants, the liability of just speaking to them and saying something that is wrong, in regards of discrimination, just repairs, something that doesn't get done properly, a tenant gets hurt, then it's a liability to your client and a liability to us as well. So it goes beyond collecting rent. It's a list of processes and services that we offer that is extremely valuable. And I think, like I said, a lot of people always sees property management as being like, the underdog, that we really don't do much, but we do a lot for our clients.
Guys, we're speaking with Vanessa today. If you want to reach out to Vanessa directly, I think she's an amazing person. She's an amazing woman. I think she offers great value, and she seems to be very patient and open-minded to work with people, individuals in other areas. She says she's willing to get some free advice. So if you're in another state and you want to open up your property management company or whatever, I'm sure she'll entertain a phone call. But if you're going to keep calling her, it might be a different scenario. But if you want to reach out to Vanessa, the company is the Crowne Group and the Crowne
Property Management, yes.
Management Group, Crowne Property Management Group. You can reach her directly at 908-275-1113. It's 908-275-1113. All right, so I've got a question for you. You may or may not know how to answer this. What is something that people might not know about you that normally maybe you wouldn't share?
You want me to disclose my dirty secrets right now?
Yeah, you're a little bit of a dirty secret.
I think that I'm very open. If I'm gonna be honest with you, Matt. Other than my personal life, I think I try to help a lot of people.
Yes.
I come from humble beginnings. I actually mentioned this yesterday with my interview with Charles. Don't think a lot of people know where I'm coming from, my background. Actually, I wasn't born here. I was born in Honduras.
Would never have guessed. I thought your accent, you came from Brooklyn, New York. Go ahead.
That's what somebody told me like 2 weeks ago. He said, "Girl, you speak like somebody from Brooklyn or Queens. That accent." But I came here when I was 19 years old. I come from very, very humble beginnings. Was poor in Honduras. I grew up in a neighborhood actually just like Newark. And one of the things that I mentioned to Charles is that how can somebody that grows up in a very challenging neighborhood can put themselves above everybody else in the same position, right? And my goal was always, I have to get myself out of where I am. I started my own little business in Honduras when I was 8. I excelled through that. I paid for my own private school and my own private high school on my own. And that's how I changed my future, because the future, if you grow up in that neighborhood, it's not going to school and ended up being a teen, a pregnant teen by 15. So I actually step out of the comfort zone that everybody else is in there and pay for my own private schooling. I came here when I was 19, thanks to my father, and put myself through college with scholarships on my own. My father was a huge help and great supporter of my career as well, just like my mother. But I don't think a lot of people knows the background where people come from. I think that's important because that's how you get shaped in life. How do you grow up? What's your motivation? My motivation is to help my family, and now I have 2 beautiful children. Though they are my motivation, they are who I am right now, and that's the reason when I think about my company, I think about the future. I don't think about the now because I want to inherit my 2 kids a company that is worth saying, okay, so here are the keys for my company. I'm giving you a clear company with ethics, with professionalism, and with passion. Nothing that it's falling apart and with bad reputation and nobody wants to hire you. So everything I do is because of them. I want in the future for them to have, a mom that they can feel proud of it. So I don't talk about my personal stuff too much, but I've been speaking lately, so I've been communicating this because hopefully I can inspire somebody to be a business owner or a lady landlord or a lady property manager. Who knows? I want to inspire more people.
So, I mean, obviously, you are an amazing person. You're obviously an amazing wife, and you're an amazing mom. What advice would you give somebody right now that's terrified about purchasing property? Because there's so many people that are out there that want to buy houses, fix them, not hold them because they're saying, "Well, I don't want the headache of it." Your company seems to take the headache away from the landlord, the potential landlord. So my question, I guess, would be is, how much of a headache or pain reliever are you for someone who has an asset, who's real estate, and they want to rent out? How much of that burden are you really taking away from them, percentage-wise, on 1 to 10, 10 being the highest?
I would say from 1 to 10, we take away a 8%. And the 2% is mainly communications that we have with the person as the landlord. So we do everything for you. We take care of the phone calls. We handle the tenants. We handle the vendors. We coordinate all the repairs. We coordinate payments for you. So in reality, that 2% that you're getting, it's mainly an email from our office saying, hey, landlord A, B, A, C, LLC, we receive a phone call from your tenant today. The hot water heater is not working. We will be sending one of our vendors. If you do have a preferred vendor that you would like to use instead of ours, please let us know within the next 1 hour. So it's up to you to answer that email. And if you have your own vendor, you can reply and say, I'll have my own plumber take care of it. Just, here's the phone number. You guys coordinate everything. Monthly, you will get 3 times a month a rent roll report, meaning if your tenants haven't paid rent, you will get a log of what our approach has been. And that's the only reason you will hear from us. If there's an issue with the property, a lot of the minor issues, we just take care of it on our own. Like there was a gas leak in the property, one of our properties 2 days ago. We didn't call the landlord. We didn't send them an email. We just sent somebody right away. And after it gets fixed by public service, we send the landlord a report. This one, it got fixed. The super was there. Everything, it's okay now. Peace of mind. So, but it took the whole day to get it done because it was a major issue in the basement. But you don't know a lot of the work that happens behind. You just get that one email saying we took care of everything for you. So that 2% is mainly communicating to you what's going on with your property. So you are aware of what's happening. One of the main complaints that people get a lot from my clients is that they never hear from the company that they manage the properties. People, the companies do expenses or they do repairs and they never know until they get the bill. So that's not the case. You have a repair or you have an issue, then we will let you know the same day. So when you get the bill or do you see the payment being withdrawn from your account, you already know. You're not taken by surprise. Oh, Vanessa never mentioned that there was an issue with my hot water heater and now I'm getting a whatever bill. You know what I mean? So people get upset about the lack of communication. So that 2% for us is communication. And I think our clients feel very comfortable with that and they're very happy that they're getting that email just informing them something happened and we just wanted to let you know, Stan.
Interesting. Listen, for me, I feel the service that you provided or provide is much needed. Especially everything that's going on in the world right now. There's so much hate. I think people are floundering around, not knowing what direction they could go in. Uncertainty of the job market. Are we going to have, another round of COVID coming around in the fall? So I guess what you're providing, besides the fact of being a backup to a landlord, I hate to say it like this, but you guys really are first responders. You're out there day in and day out, no joke, like legit.
We are.
Your company is out there protecting the assets for your clients, and for me, I think that's pretty amazing. And I say keep up the great work, keep doing what you're doing. I'd like to offer at a later time. I would love to maybe have you on if I do like a panel, and have you on as one of the panel experts with some of these guys that actually own assets. And for your 2 cents, I think that it would add value. Is that something that you'd like to do?
I would love to. I mean, like I said, I love helping people. I think by providing knowledge, and even if you don't hire me, I really don't care. I think the fact that if I can inspire somebody to buy their first property and I can provide any kind of knowledge that people are going to be like, well, the way that she puts things, it's give free resources. I tell people what softwares we use, what kind of processes we use, and it's up to them to apply them or not, or to a point that they're like, I want to hire her because I can't deal with this anymore. But I give resources and people can use them and people can do it on their own if they want. So the fact that I can help anybody and I can be part of your panel, I'll be more than honored.
Guys, this is Vanessa from the Crowne Group and the Crowne Property Management Group. She's offering services in New Jersey, in northern Jersey, central Jersey for now. Who knows where the company is going to lead and where it's going to go in the next 6 months to a year. I'm proud to call you a friend. I'm happy that you took time out to come on. At the end of every one of the shows, I ask people to try to emulate the fingerprint and see if they can actually do my fingerprint. So I'd love to see if you can do it. A lot of smiles. You said like that, but you know what? I'm going to give you an 8.
Wait, hold on. No. I'm a 10 person, okay? Hold on.
All right.
I'm a 10 person, so now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it looks like you're shooting me. It's not, you gotta bend it. You gotta bend it in like this.
Wait.
Right, and it's got to go in the camera because it's not in the camera.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. First of all, nobody gets a 10, but I'll give you an 8.5 for your effort. How's that?
Much better.
Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm very competitive.
I know you are. I know you are. Guys, the shows at 12 o'clock are important because it's my time to give back, to bring other people that are bringing value to maybe you may or may not know of them or their company. The videos that we're doing are going to be cut up and they're going to be available in the near future as podcast shows. So I hope that people listen to them, and I hope that the podcast eventually launches and it adds more value to people. So the 12 o'clock shows are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And until we stop doing or people stop watching or coming to get off the air, we're going to keep doing them. I appreciate you stopping by, Vanessa. If you want to reach out to Vanessa, again, her number is 908-275-1113. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Matt.
Don't go anywhere.